everybody accepted quasi-periodic material, that this is not what happened. The resistivity, the resistance still existed, and from 1987 until 1994, many people still rejected the notion of quasi-periodic crystals. And the leader of the people in the opposition was Professor Linus Pauling, who was the most eminent chemist of the 20th century. He wrote the book, he taught us many things, and he said that quasi-periodic materials do not exist. He was standing on stages saying, Danny Shechtman is talking nonsense, there are no quasi-crystals, just quasi-scientists. And behind him was the American Chemical Society. The American Chemical Society is a very large society, hundreds of thousands of registered members, and they were with him. So the acceptance was not all over the world. Many scientists still objected. But then in 1994, Professor Pauling died, and when he died, so did the objection to quasi-periodic material.
虽然在1987年的时候，我们对准晶提出了这个定义，那也许多人接受了。可是事实上呢，在87年到1994年之间还是有质疑的声浪。那当中质疑的声浪最著名的就是来自美国的鲍林教授。鲍林教授他自己本身也是诺贝尔化学奖的得主，而且在20世纪是非常重要也杰出的化学的学者那他是大力的去质疑我所提出来的这个准晶，而且曾经在科协会议上就站在舞台上直接跟听众们说，世界上没有准晶体这种东西，只有准科学家。他是一方面在嘲笑我不是真正的科学家那鲍林教授呢，他代表的是美国的整个化学学会，非常非常大的一个组织，有相当多优秀的会员。所以鲍林教授他这样的一个质疑呢，占有很重要的分量。后来一直到1994年他过世以后，准晶的研究才更受到大家的重视。
Now, I want to mention a few names that had seminal contributions to the field. And first, I want to mention Roger Penrose and Larry Mackay. Roger Penrose with the Penrose style. Larry Mackay is another eminent British scientist who showed that Penrose styles can give sharp diffraction patterns. So this was essential. Even then, Nick Atlas and John Kahn were my colleagues with whom I published the first paper. Nick Atlas is here in Taipei today, and he will join the conference. And then I want to mention Dr. Green and Paul Steinhardt, who proposed Dr. Green as a professor at Technion, Paul Steinhardt as a professor at Princeton in the United States. And they proposed a timing model based on the observations of Alan Mackay, which diffraction pattern matches my diffraction pattern. So these are all seminal contributors. And of course, there are hundreds and hundreds of other scientists who contributed to the field.
我要同时感谢很多世界知名学者开创性的贡献，像前面我们看过的这个潘洛斯排列是 Roger Penrose 的贡献，那还有 Alan Mackay 把他的这个潘洛斯排列呢做更实际的运用。那我在发表论文的时候呢 ，Dennis Rejection 他很大力的支持我。Rejection 教授这次有来台北科大参加国际性的这个会议，另外还有 John Kahn， 那还有像最后面这边有 Dr. Levin， 还有 Paul Steinhardt， 那都是非常支持我的科学家，也谢谢他们的开创性的贡献。
Now, I would like to finish my talk by saying the following. Whereas before, order was synonym to periodicity in crystals, now we know that order can be periodic, and it can be also quasi-periodic.
所以我们现在知道呢，在晶体它可以是有序有周期的，但是它也有可能呢是周期性和准周期性并容。
Now, I'm going to ask myself a question, and then I will let you ask a question. So my question is, why quasi-periodic materials were never discovered before 1982? Is it because they're very rare? Is it because they are not stable? Is it because they are difficult to make? or maybe they are made of very strange esoteric material, esoteric elements. Are they rare? No, not at all. Quasi-periodic minerals are not rare at all. There are hundreds of them. And here is just a partial list. This is a partial list of quasi-periodic materials based on aluminum alone. So, no, they are not rare. This is not the reason why they were not discovered before 1982.
我也一直在思考这个问题，为什么在1982年以前的准晶没有被大家发现？我就在想，是因为它们很少见吗？还是不稳定，或者是不容易被制造？它是出现在非常稀有的元素或者材料当中吗？那我们先看一下准晶是不是真的很少见？事实上并不是这样的，大家可以在许多种铝跟其他金属的合金里面发现准晶体。
Okay, maybe they are not stable. Oh, not at all. Many quasi-crystals are not stable, but some of them, most of them, discovered by Anton Tsai, who is with us here. But what does metastable mean? It means that only if you heat them up to 350 degrees C and 400 degrees C, then they will transform. But at room temperature, they are stable. So this is not the reason. They are stable.
再来第二个问题，准晶是不是不稳定？在高温下呢，准晶的确会产生相变态，它会变成其他的周期性结构，但是在热力学上面，它还是稳定的。
Okay. Now, are they difficult to make? Oh, not at all. They're very easy to make. Then you can make them by casting, you can make them by rapid solidification, you can make them by single crystal growth, by electron deposition, CVD, PVD, any technology that will create other metallic alloys, you can create quasi-crystal. Easy to make.
那准晶是不是不容易制作？其实它们非常好制作的，制作的方式可以用这个熔炼铸造，或者是快速凝固单晶的成长，还有电镀，以及用化学气象沉积或是物理的气象沉积都可以制作出来。
So, why QCs were never before 1982? Let me give you my answer. My answer is the following. Quasi-periodic materials had to be discovered by transmission electron microscopy. They could not have been discovered by any other technique, not by X-ray diffraction, definitely, because the crystals were very, very small. And if you take an X-ray diffraction from many small crystals, you lose the rotational symmetry. You do not see the rotational symmetry, and therefore you cannot identify what the structure is. So they had to be discovered by TM. This narrows the number of researchers who could have discovered quasi-periodic material. Only those who work on TM. But that's not enough. You have to be a professional. When you work on a TM, you have to know exactly what you are doing. Now let me tell you. There are thousands upon thousands of students in the world that work on the electron microscope. But most all of them use the electron microscope as a wonderful magnifying glass. And they do not use the power of the electron microscope to discover things. Because in order to use it, you have to be a professional, somebody who really knows how to use this wonderful, wonderful research tool called transmission electron microscope. So professionalism is also essential. This limits the number even further. Now, let's say that you have discovered something, and the question is, what do you do with it now? You have to have tenacity. You have to hold on and not give up until you discover and understand what you have in your hand. Collaborate with people, talk to people, but find out what you have in your hand. Listen to other people, but if they don't sound logical to you, stand tall. And let me tell you something. Science is basically experimental. Yes, there are theoreticians, and yes, they contribute a lot to science. And there are excellent examples of Nobel laureates like Albert Einstein, who was a theoretician. And he got the Nobel, and rightly so, because he was the greatest. And his mind was unbelievable. And only now, after years, we perform experiments to prove that he was right. But look at all the Nobel Prizes. Almost all of them are given for experimental science, experimental discoveries. So listen to the experimentalists. But if theoreticians tell you that you are not right, think again. You have to have tenacity. Let me give you an example, counter-example to my example. There is a scientist in Europe who saw the diffraction pattern that I saw with the 5-pole rotation symmetry. He saw it before me. How do I know that? His professor told me. How does the professor know? The professor looked through the files of grades of his previous students and found my diffraction pattern that he took years before me. So that professor calls now the students is a PhD for many years. He works somewhere. And he says to the ex-students, you know, you saw Danny Shechtman diffraction pattern before him. The student said, yes, I know. Said the professor, why didn't you tell me? Said the student, well, professor, you see, if I told you, you would want me to stay for 2 more years on my PhD. I didn't want that. So, don't give up. Don't let go until you understand what you have. And then, you have to believe in yourself. And you can believe in yourself if you are a professional. So this is my main message to you students. Choose a subject that you like and become a professional in that subject. Become an expert in that subject. And if you are an expert in the subject, any subject, you will have a wonderful career. I promise you. Become an expert, become a leader in a certain subject, and your career will be great. Last thing, courage. You see, when the world around you is against you, you have to have some courage and not be afraid that you will not be promoted. And my promotion was postponed because my university believed other scientists more than they believed me. Okay. And, okay, it came later on. So you have to have courage and say, I am right. If you are sure that you're right. When you are sure that you're right, if you are an expert. Become an expert in something. Choose a subject that you like. Science, engineering, music, literature, something that you like, but be number one. Strive to be number one. And then you will have a great future. Thank you very much.